What's going on, guys? This is Henry again. Just want to say what's up. Uh, so basically, I'm doing this video just because I had a couple of people asking me how was my experience, or at least how did I went, the process to get my CDL, my trucking license. And it was one of those things where it was just an opportunity that I had because of a situation that I was going through. I ended up basically going to trucking school, and it was actually a very interesting experience. In my case, I didn't go to one of those companies, like those big carriers, those big companies to do the training. Now I wish I did, just because of the fact that, man, when you go to trucking school, it's basically they just want you to get your license. It's a process where they just want you to go and do the DMB test. Basically, get through the whole situation where they want you to study fast. I mean, the whole process is like, I believe, 5 to 6 weeks. Start to finish. Some companies, I know their process is like, fuck, man, it's like at least 3 to 4 weeks. In fact, I heard some people telling me their experience with some other companies, it was like a 2 or 3 week process. I don't know, but at least for me, it was like 5 to 6 weeks, something like that, because there was a delay, getting me to my last appointment, with the DMV. But anyways, when I came in with the company that I went to, the trucking school, it was actually pretty cool, man, because there was not a whole lot of people. I believe in my class there was like 6 or 5 other individuals, and only 3 of us were gonna be doing the Class A, the commercial license, and the other 3 were doing Class B. But it was definitely very interesting. My position, my situation with that school, it was. I mean, I never done it. I never even searched, to get information. It was just, the opportunity was presented to me to go to the school, and within like 2 weeks, it was approved. I really never done any research prior to, like, man. I think I tried back in 2011, if I'm not mistaken, or 2012. I talked to CR England, because it was one of those companies that I keep seeing a whole lot, and it was just something that I thought it was gonna be, just different, and I didn't know how good it would be or how bad it would be. I really didn't have any idea, but I talked to them. Nothing happened. I believe they told me back then it was gonna be, staying with them for a whole year contract, and if I bail before before the year ended, they were gonna, I had to pay the money back, which was like somewhere around $5,000, and I just was not sure if I really wanted to do that. But when I had this opportunity, it was in 2019. It was back in, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was in August, and I came in not knowing what to expect. I was going through a bunch of situations. Basically, it was like a change of career for me, like this deal or pursuing this trucking industry. But coming in, it was funny because, I mean, you're basically in class, man. I feel like I was in high school, and I'm already like 39 years old at the time, 38. And I was like really not happy about being in class, that all that perspective of, being a student. I just didn't like it, but either way, I remember they gave us like a whole book, a booklet, to study, so you can do your written test. And then within a week, they sent you out to do your exams and all that stuff, so you can get your permit, and they give you all this access, they give you, a lot of studying information, a lot of paperwork that you have to study. And I remember I studied a lot, man. I was like studying like nobody's business, because I didn't want to fail. I just didn't want to go and pay I don't know how much money to a DMV, like $30, $40, whatever, the case was at the time, and pay for it and not pass this exam. I was just not gonna have that. But I remember going through that process. It was stressful for me, man, because it was, it was one of those things where I didn't want to, I really didn't want to just, I wasn't sure if I really wanted to get in the industry or not. I wasn't 100% sure. And even though I had that opportunity, I still was very, I was doubting, was this the right move for me or not? But man, I remember that first week I studied, we had like 2 or 3 days in class. I believe Thursday, it was just studying. We didn't even go to the school that day. And then they told us, you guys got to get this done by Friday, go to the DMV, and you need to pass it in order for you guys to come in on Monday to the actual yard, where we have the trucks. And now we start doing the pre-trip and, learning everything about the truck. And I remember we did it like that. But it was crazy, man, because now that I go back and think about it, that was a lot of information, for me to, I mean, I just don't like studying, man. I just don't like all that studying situation. But anyways, I did that. I remember Wednesday or Thursday, I stayed like really late studying my notes, taking notes. And even then, I went to the DMV the following day on Friday, like around noon. And I had to do, I think it was air brakes, endorsement, general acknowledgement. You have to pass your regular C class for your regular license. And at the time, they were doing the real ID, and you have to bring all these documents. But I brought everything, and I remember I was very stressed out, man. I did all these tests. I passed 2 of them like very easy. And then my general acknowledgement, I believe, I failed that test. And that one, I was sure that I had it, man. I was like 100% sure that I just had that deal, and I didn't. So I didn't pass it, and I was stressed out. I remember I went outside, smoked a cigarette. I was like super stressed out, and then I talked to one of my friends, from class, and I asked him, "Dude, how you doing?" And he was like, "It was a piece of cake, man. I passed all of them," or something like that. So I was stressing because I didn't want to be the guy in class that failed, his exam, or his written test. So I took a break, and I remember coming back inside, and I passed it. Like that was basically it. I passed it. I was very excited. I remember walking out of the DMV, with my little paper, stating that I'm allowed to basically, drive a truck, with somebody else that has a CDL in the possession. And at least for me, what it meant was basically that I can come into the yard and just, practice in the trucks, maybe get on, and start driving them if it was, if that was the process. But that was not really the process. The process was Monday morning, we came into the yard, and I remember there was like 2 or 3 different groups going. This company had like 4 trucks, if I'm not mistaken. So they separate everybody, everybody that was in Class B, everybody that was in Class A. They put us in 3 or 4 different teams. And the people that were in my group, they were pretty cool, man. I got along great with everybody. But again, we go back to the little, pamphlet, the little documents, and studying, man. Studying is the key. It was just crazy. Like coming day one and study everything. I'm still not the type of person that know everything about the engine, or I never fix my cars. I never work in my cars, so I don't, like a lot of these things I know, but a lot of them I really didn't. So when I came in and they give me this, they told me, okay, this is how you have to say it because this is for your pre-trip. I didn't understand that, and then when I come to realize is that, okay, so all these documents that they giving me, like I have to study everything, because when I go do the DMV test, you have to basically go step by step. And that's when I realized, man, this is a crazy situation, because look, it's cool, it's different, because you get to talk to your friends, like and you're messing around, and everybody's taking their own time. But when you go to the DMV and you're in front of the examiner, I mean, that's a whole different issue, man. Like, that was a whole different, ball game, and I was just nervous about that. So I remember going through that process was very stressful for me. Studying every day. I had to go and do a pre-trip inspection, the engine, inside the cab. I mean, you have to go and mention everything, seatbelt, if it's not, ripped, or if it's not frayed, whatever, if it's not broken, make sure that everything's in working conditions. You have to talk about your air brakes. You have to talk about, the outside of the truck, the outside of the trailer, on the under part, everything, man. So I don't want to make this video about everything I did, but it was stressful. That was my situation, going through that process. I remember week 2 came in, and then you have to learn a different part. And I remember the whole time they're giving us, like, studying, a lot of study material, but I really don't think I start, or my first time when I got on the truck was after, like, on my 3rd week, if I'm not mistaken. And that's when I started doing, the regular skills. They have you do the alley dogs. First, obviously, we started with straight line, because straight line is hard, when you're someone like me that doesn't have any experience in trucking, and they give you a truck and it breaks, you're trying to, like, keep the thing straight. That's the hardest thing, man. It was not easy. But anyways, I remember they gave us the skill, so we had a couple minutes, throughout the day, and it was only like 6 hours, during the day that we were studying, and we were at the yard, and we had very limited time, because of everybody else going through the same trucks, so we didn't have that much time, in the cab, and the following week, I believe they gave us like two or three skills first, and then we had to learn, the alley dog. We had to learn, parallel parking and the offset, and they're all hard, man. If you've never done trucking, if you're someone like me that you never got on a truck like that, I mean, I remember, like, I used to rent trucks from Penske, and I had to, like, figure it out which one was the air brakes, and I hear people talking about, oh yeah, the air brakes, so you have to talk about, different things. I just didn't care. Nobody teach me. In fact, I worked for a company that, it was like mowing a box truck, and they just hand me the keys. They put me out, with someone, in training, and it was just a process where, I had to pick it up on my own, like driving part, and it was new to me. Everything was new. But when I started, in this school, man, it was it was exciting to me to learn everything. I was as I was going, and it was hard. It was very hard. But towards the end, I remember, like, I met a lot of good people, man. A lot of good people I met. I talked to a lot of different individuals where, they're different backgrounds. There's some police officers, taking the same classes that you're taking. Some firemen, taking their classes. And I met a lot of people that were construction, in different fields. Towards the end, to me, it took me 5 weeks to get my license, because there was a delay, with the DMV. They were not giving a whole lot of tests, to the school, and I wanted to go to a school in Fontana, and they sent me to LA, or Gardena, I believe it was. But overall, it was a good experience. I mean, going through, I heard some people that they just pay money to the company on their own, or they just study on their own. It makes it difficult, man, because like it or not, even though you have other people in class with the school, you kind of feed up of each other. You know what I mean? Like, you ask questions within the other people in the class, and for me, that helped me. Because I like to ask questions. I like to interact with different instructors, and I like the fact that we had different people right there, that we would, like, basically study with each other, and get to the process. Most of the people that we went to that school in that class, I remember we all passed the CDL test. We all went to the process, we studied, and we all passed it. So it was a good thing. It was a really um, it was a very positive, situation coming into, to the school, as opposed to like just coming, by myself and handling this, which I never thought it would, because there's a lot of process, there's a lot of things that you have to know. So it was fun. Uh, I have my license since 2019. I've been through a lot of experiences, different works, jobs that I had, different positions that I had, and the whole process up to now, it's been very rewarding, man. Even though I haven't been consistent, but my first year, I was working for a trench company, and it was a lot of hard work, man, a lot of hard hours, like it was just, the money was good. I mean, everything was good about, the company. And then I left the company, and I was doing something completely different that I never done either, which was driving a smaller truck, but it was a roll off, and man, I have so much respect for for those guys that do that, man, because that was a different, story. It was like moving into a smaller truck, a scale. It was big, it was smaller, double axle on the back. It was more like a box truck, but it was, rolling containers, and I had to go on top and tarp that thing, and tie it up and everything. So it was very physical. It was very physical, and after that I worked for another flatbed company, going to Oregon, and doing some flatbed as well, moving logs and building material. So my experiences have been very short, pleasant, somewhat. Um, I mean, I'm still pursuing it, trucking. I mean, I'm still looking for, I mean, I feel like this is a good career where I can retire, and my family can benefit a lot from it, So I'm looking forward to. I'm very excited about this year. I'm very excited about where I'm at right now. I just want to stick around more. Get more experience. I mean, for me, the one issue that I always had, because I never had over the road experience, was just dealing with uh, how to do a lot of things that other drivers know how to do, and I just don't feel comfortable doing them. And one of them was just doing the alley dock. I remember that was my thing, that it was just hard for me. But in flatbed, you really don't have to do alley dock. I mean, there are situations where you have to park the truck a certain way, or bring the truck in tighter spots, which is very different coming into a construction site, or just pulling on the side of the freeway, or pulling to the side of the street, and dealing with different issues that you really don't deal with when you're driving a dry van, or a reefer. So anyways, I mean, my experience was good. Up to now, I'm still motivated. I mean, I'm still excited, because I still want to learn more. There's a lot of people out there that they're very good in what they do, and I ask questions, man. I see people, like, if I see somebody doing something that it looks very easy to me, I ask questions. I don't care, man. I'd rather ask questions and ask them how are they doing it, because if they make it look that easy, I feel like I can work on it, and maybe find a different perspective for somebody else, and help me to make things easier for me. That's what I'm trying to achieve, man. Uh, I remember one of my trainers, when I came to the trucking school. After I left the trucking school, I'm sorry, with the first company I was working for, he was my trainer for a whole month. Because I mean, it was not only like driving the truck, it was also operating the crane. It was a crane company, so we had different trucks moving trenching material, and you had to learn how to use the crane. You had to learn how to load yourself up on every single load. Using the commercial forklift, which is huge, man. So I had to learn how to use different equipment. And the whole time I was driving with this guy, I remember he was a lot younger than me, and he'd been driving for 10 years, and he has so much experience. He was very comfortable driving, and I used to look at him, because he would always drive just floating gears, and I would ask him, dude, how do you do that, man? Can you tell me, like, how do you do that? Because in school they give a shit about double clutching, and when you go to the DMV, it has to be double clutching. I never seen anybody else doing double clutching after I left my trucking school. And everybody else that I seen driving, they know how to flow, the gears, man. And it was very interesting because he teach me how to do it, and I feel comfortable doing it. And it's good, man, to have that little edge on you. Like, I don't have a restriction on my license. I can drive automatic or manual transmission, which is pretty good. But when you just came out of school and you don't have that edge, you question it, like, or at least me, I was like, I would see people doing it. I remember, like, the first person I saw ever doing it was one of my instructors at that trucking school. And I asked him, he was like, nope, don't worry about it. Just double clutch. I don't want you to burn the clutch, so just double clutch. I don't want you to fail the test. So I had to pick that on my own. I had to see other people doing it. And I would always see drivers driving the way they're doing their clutch. And I would never see them use it, only in the first gear. So I would question, hey, is it easier? What's easier for you? So I mean, now I know I feel comfortable doing it, but right now I'm driving a automatic truck, which just sucks, but it's good too because I'm in LA. I'm driving, and within 250 miles, and in LA there's a lot of traffic, man. Each freeway that you take, so much traffic. So I don't mind driving the automatic, but the fact that I know how to drive manual transmission, I love that, man. So hey, study, ask questions. Talk to people that know, man. Like, don't be shy, man. For the most part, every trucker that I met, they're pretty cool. Every person that I ask questions, they have the time to give me answers. And I mean, you also meet, you know, people that don't want to share anything, and that's okay. Because at least you understand that, what, everybody has their own situations. Like, I had a trainer too in one company that he just didn't want to teach me anything, but after a long time I realized that it was because he never went to trucking school, so he didn't know. I would ask him, hey, so how do you do the 45 angle? And he didn't know what I was talking about. I would ask him, hey, how do you do the ollie dock? And he didn't know how to do it because it was a flatbed company, so he really didn't answer my questions. I would ask him things that they would teach me at the school, and he just didn't answer my question. I don't know if he just didn't like me, probably. I mean, that was the case. But, I ask questions. I get along with people. I try to talk to people. I try to be somewhat, helpful, if they ask for my help, or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to be respectful about everything, and I feel that respect is the key for, succeeding in this industry, because you have to have respect for people. At least my last trainer that I had about, 2 weeks ago, I mean, he was good, man. He was a really good driver. I saw him drive. He was very knowledgeable about everything. He will park the damn truck in some tight spaces, man. And that's still my thing that I still have to, work on. Like, my backing, my parking, or alley docks, or, you know what I mean? Like, coming into like very tight space, I always doubt myself, but I still managed to get it done. It's just that sometimes I wish I got it done as fast as somebody else. And I don't give myself a lot of credit, but you know what? I've been working a lot. I've been doing some studying, a lot of what I'm doing now is just reading, getting information, try to have the right information, man. Like, making notes of what I'm doing. Like, I try to figure out what my mistake is, and I caught myself already doing that, where I know exactly, I can pinpoint and say, you know what, this is what I was doing wrong. And a lot of the times they talk about the setups. Man, the setups is the key for anything. When you're parking, that is the key, man. And I'm working on it. I'm trying to make it a point where every time I'm on a park, I have a way to do this. Like, I want to make it a habit, repetition, doing the same thing. It's a lot of studying. I mean, when you become a truck driver, it's a lot, man. It's a lot of information out there. I search a lot of videos. There's a lot of people that I follow on YouTube just because they have a lot of good pointers. They're teachers already. They're already trainers, and their information is benefiting me. It's giving me a lot of confidence. So I appreciate that. Even though they don't know me personally, but like, I follow them. I see their videos. And I mean, I feel that the only way you can get it done is by humble yourself, realize what you're doing. If you're doing something that is positive, and somebody asks you, the least you can do is just, pass it on. So, uh, hey, it is what it is. We're in this process. Like, it's a transition, period. And that's exactly where I'm at right now too. So, hey, if anybody benefited out of this video, or if you have questions about how I did it, I don't want to just throw names and how I did it. Like, it's just, some people just don't care. But if you actually want to know, and you you really want to get, contact me, send me a message, man. I'll be glad to give you the information or point you probably to the right direction if I have the answer to that. And if not, hey, you guys have a great time. Thank you for listening, and talk to you guys soon. Thanks.